Alright, this morning we're going to attempt to install this high flow cat into this car. So shout out to It's Pronounced Vag for putting a more detailed install using the Red Star high flow cat pipe. So this is the 034 unit. I'm going to use a lot of tips that they provided along with the 034 instructions to get this bad boy in. So I've got all my tools pulled. So I've got some ratcheting wrenches. I think It's Pronounced Vag use the same ones. Got some S wrenches and a standard straight. We'll see which ones we use. In the 034 instructions, they list that you need to get creative with getting those bolts on towards the back of the firewall loosened. So they provided a picture of what they used. And actually, I almost created the exact same thing. I'm missing a short extension here, but I think this one is longer than theirs. So I don't know. Maybe it'll work. We'll see. But I'll let you know which tools worked for me. And then based on others' experience and mine, hopefully you all can figure it out as well. I already got the car up on ramps. It's pretty tight under there since the car's lowered a bit, but we'll see. We'll get to it. It is a little harder with the car lifted up to get to the bolts back there, but hopefully I'll manage. I didn't want to have to start the car and get the cat hot and then work on it again. But I already sprayed the bolts with liquid wrench. I'm thinking the S wrenches are going to be the best bet for these ones, but we'll see. And then yeah, so we'll get going. I'll take little short clips of important tips, but otherwise I think It's Pronounced Vag's video is pretty detailed, so I'm going to use that for the most part. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, just a quick progress check. So we got the O2 sensor out. I actually got all three of those bolts and those two by using those two tools, an S wrench and the ratcheting wrench. So I used the S tool to break them loose on all but that. Actually, I used to use that S wrench on all of them to break them loose. But then I used the ratchet on all but that one in the back there towards the firewall. I used the S wrench completely on that one. That seemed to fit the best. Actually, it wasn't too bad. Okay, a little progress update. So I got all those bolts out, as I had said previously. And as soon as I let go of the exhaust hangers down below, per the 034 instructions, that one completely separated. So that's good. This side, still trying to get to that back bolt. And I'm actually going from the top. I know It's Pronounced Vag went from the bottom. Honestly, don't know how they did that. But my menagerie of extensions and sockets is close to what I could make with my tools that 034 recommended. I was able to get to it. So I broke it loose. It just keeps falling off and it's really, really awkward. You gotta go down through the top back here and, you know, just like an eighth of a turn each time, loosening it. But my forearms are pretty bruised up and scratched from scraping on the motor, but that's car life, I guess. Okay, I couldn't get the bolt out from the top using those extensions. I was probably able to get one full turn from the top before it fell off, and I just couldn't make my way back under or back on it. So I tried going from underneath using this guy, and it worked. You have to, obviously with your head facing towards the back of the car, you got to reach up underneath with your left hand. It's kind of a blind reach. But you know, if you've worked on cars long enough, you know that sometimes you're loosening bolts that you just cannot see, so you work by feel, which is why I wear these thin gloves so I can feel stuff. But yeah, your arms will get all red and beat up, but such is life. Okay, it's out. One thing that noted in the instructions, if you have the 034 cross brace, you have to remove that centerpiece. It's all in the instructions, but you do have to completely loosen one arm in order to get the centerpiece out. But I wanted to just make a note of just the size and design difference. So as it's been pointed out before, there looks like there's two cats on the OEM piece, and then it's got the big old booty, someone else called it. But look how much smoother the transition is on the 034 piece. Good stuff. Oh, and I bought a O2 spacer. This is a Fabspeed unit. Oh, there's a lot of glare, but it has a Euro 4 cat in there. Can't really tell. Well, you can kind of see that there's a cat in there. Wasn't cheap, but I don't know. We'll see if it doesn't give a check engine light. When I spoke to the guys at 034, they said this pipe will definitely throw a check engine light, so hopefully we'll avoid that. Alright, a little progress update. So got the spacer, O2 spacer in. I'm starting to put the bolts on. The bolts with the 034 kit are super short. I mean, it doesn't even poke through. So I don't know how I'm supposed to get a nut on there. And the ones from the factory unit are pressed in. So no way I'm getting those out. So shot a message off to 034, see what the deal is. Guess we're at a stopping point. Okay, got all the bolts in. So I talked to 034. Wrong bolts were included with my kit, so they should be 30 millimeters. I just ran down to local hardware store and got some bolts. They're M8s, M8 by 30. Bolts right up. What did I use? I used an S wrench. Just a regular old straight wrench. And then the ratchet wrench I used on these two here, you can see. Actually, I used a ratchet wrench on these front two also. The back one was just the S wrench. And then the bolt that you can't see on the very back, I tried going underneath, like how I got it off. I got a few threads on, but I just couldn't get enough torque at the angle that I was at. And so I went through the top and I used all those funky extensions, and it was just awkward. But because the 034 cat is so much smaller, I was able to just use a straight extension and a 12 millimeter socket. It does help to have a swivel on your socket wrench. So it's on. I just got to bolt up the hangers down there. Oh, I took off the O2 spacer because it was getting in the way, so I'll put that back on. We're almost done. All right, it's in. Put my strut bar back. There's the O2 spacer. Again, that has a Euro 4 cat in the spacer, so hopefully between that Euro 4 cat and that one would be enough. Everything's bolted in. We're good to go. The exhaust hangers were kind of a pain. Just know that you have to completely, well, not completely, almost completely loosen. There's two bolts. One of them you remove. The other one you can almost completely loosen so you have enough slack to put them back in. But other than that, so there was that bolt in the back. I mean, all in all, it's not too bad. It's just a lot of cramped spaces. I mean, I was basically laying over my engine bay because the car's up on ramps. It'd be a lot easier to get to these bolts if your car's not on ramps, but then, you know, you could either, if you have a lift or you have access to put jacks under the car, jack stands and whatnot. But there you go. All right, next video will be a startup. I'm gonna get this thing buttoned back up.